Good morning to everybody here present. It actually gives me immense pleasure and it's my honor to be welcoming our guest speaker for the day, Group Captain retired Ashwini Baku, who is also a VSM, which is Vishish Seva Medal awardee. Um, Baku sir has been an alumni of the National Defense Academy, the Royal Air Force College of UK, and the University of Berkeley, amongst many others. He is decorated by the President of India and has been an ex-fighter for the Indian Air Force and served us. He is trained in assessment of human resource, enabling quality selection, skill enhancement, and improved productivity. He has also commanded a premier fighter unit during our Kargil War, which is and of course, not just his above accolades, but he has also been a visiting faculty for colleges such as the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, DY Patil Symbiosis in MGM, where he's conducted several sessions on emotional wellness and gender sensitization. He has an extensive postgraduate experience and an education in psychology with an emphasis in change management, emotional intelligence, amongst others. Presently, he is practicing as a psychotherapist, aviation consultant, director of Happiness Unlimited, VMA Software Solutions, and is a trustee of Connecting NGO, which is a suicide prevention organization. I think reading all of this has given me a lot of inspiration. And there are very few people like you, sir, who can dip their toes in every field and excel in each and every field that they try. So thank you so much for joining us, sir, and we welcome you.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, thank you everybody, especially to Colonel Mishra and all the members for having me here today for this topic, which is very, very close to my heart, which is on emotional wellness. Uh, I want to talk about this, and at the moment, I want to share my screen with you now. This is a topic about mental health, which I have been involved with for the last about 18 to 19 years. And what I have come across is that mental health is something that we tend to push under the carpet. We go for nearly everything. We go for physical fitness. We, try and maintain ourselves in every other way. But somewhere or the other, we tend to forget about our mental health. And I found that the major reason for this in the last 18 odd years is because, truly speaking, we think it as a taboo to talk about mental health. That there is something wrong with us in case we talk about our mental health. So here is, before we do anything, I'm going to tell you the sequence that I'm going to go in today. I will talk about what is mental health, why is it important, who gets affected, the factors which lead to mental health, how is our mental health affected, our brain functioning, the brain chemicals, stress, warning signs, and how do we handle it. Now, it's a lot here. I'm going to be touching upon a few of the topics, and I will enlarge upon a few more. Before we go any further, look at this. Have you ever felt like this? Frequently angry, very worried, done some reckless things that could harm you or the others? Felt grief for a long period of after a loss? Thought your mind is controlled or is out of control? Used excessive alcohol or drugs or smoked excessively? Obsessive exercising. I mean, exercise is very good, but obsessive exercising is what becomes takes you to the other side. Dieted and done binge eating or done binge eating. Hurt other people or destroy property. Have disturbed sleep. Felt unusually confused, forgetful, or on edge. Now, if you were to see all this, somewhere or the other, most of us have experienced something like this at some stage in our life. Now, if that is the case, all I would like to say here is look at this slide on the right hand side. That means we have all experienced mental health issues at some time or the other. Now, if that is true, then effectively mental health is as common as physical pain, headache, a bruise, a cut, or anything like that. Mental health is very, very similar to that. Let me define what mental health is. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well being. Notice all three are coming in: emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It starts right from our thought process. It goes to our emotions, which is our feeling, and it then translates into our action. It helps us to determine how to handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Here's another definition: mental health refers to cognitive behavior and emotional well being. Cognitive is rational behavior. It is all about how people think, feel, and behave. Notice the similarities in the definition. The way people think, feel, and behave. Sometimes people refer to mental health as mental disorder. It is this, that people referring to mental health as mental disorder, that keeps us away from mental health. WHO states that mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes her own abilities, can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make contribution to his or her own community. And here are some facts. Over 90 million Indians, about 7.5% of the country's population of 1.3 billion, suffer from some form or the other of a mental disorder, and that is the WHO report. As far as NIMHAM is concerned, out of the 150 million Indians who need active intervention, only about 30 million are getting it. The others are not getting it. Here are some more facts. In 2019, a study by the British charity Mental Health Research UK was carried out, and this study indicated 42.5% of the employees in India's corporate sector suffer from depression or anxiety disorder. Almost every second employee. We have a very young population between 15 and 34. 35% of our population is within that age group. And the maximum amount of suicides which take place is between the ages of 15 to 39. And this is a real cause for worry. Before the COVID virus had come, who had actually thought that about 20% of the population would suffer from mental illness? And now you can imagine, after the WHO virus has come, sorry, not the WHO virus, after the COVID virus has come, what is going to happen? Why is mental health important? Mental health can affect our daily living, our relationships, our physical health. Stress and depression and anxiety can affect mental health and disrupt a person's routine. So notice the importance when we are talking about why is mental health important. Just think of it even like physical health. In case we are physically not fit, our daily living is going to be affected. But if we are physically fit but mentally not fit, even our physical health is going to get affected. Stress can affect you physically because mental things which are happening inside your body can affect you physically. Incidents in people's lives, interpersonal connections, and physical factors can all contribute to mental health disruption. When we say incidents in people's life, see, everybody is unique. Please understand that everybody is unique. Therefore, every person, the incidents in every person's life are going to be unique. So those incidents and how they handle them is going to affect mental health. Looking after mental health can preserve a person's ability. This involves reaching a balance between life activities, responsibilities. We keep talking about life work balance, and we also keep talking about resilience. But when we talk about resilience, we also see that today, this younger population is going, there are a large number of people there who are doing self harm. And studies are indicating that one of the factors which is not there or which is lacking there is resilience. And resilience is developed over time. Resilience is not something which you can get, as a part of your DNA or something. Resilience has to be developed over time, and resilience is something which is missing. Why mental health is important? Let me continue with that only. Again, to realize your full potential. No, I can only do this much. I can't do that much because my thoughts are stopping me from doing things. It is once I am free mentally, I am in a positive attitude, I am talking positively, I am working positivity, I am thinking positively, will I reach my full potential. And if I don't do that, obviously, I may still be happy. I may still be able to do my work and satisfied with life, but I haven't reached my full potential. And when I reach my full potential, I only give the example of our past president, President Abdul Kalam. The way this gentleman reached the top, and even after becoming the president, he would go to colleges and talk and give talks. Why? For the only reason because that was self actualization for him, reaching even beyond the level of being the president of India. Cope with the stresses of life. Uh, if we are thinking that life is going to be stress free, I think we should dump that idea into the river. Life is going to have stresses, and we will have to deal with those stresses. So if we are mentally healthy, we can actually cope with these. Work productively, make meaningful contributions to their communities. Seeing Rotary, I see how the contributions are being made. I have been associated with Colonel Mr. Saab even last year, and this particular Rotary Club last year, and I see the meaningful contributions that are being made. And I think the major reason why this is happening again is because people are thinking positively. People's mental health at this stage is at a high level. Who is affected? You notice on the screen whether it is an actor, actress, whether it is a farmer who's affected by floods or a water shortage there. Nobody is left out. Here, look again. And these photographs which I am showing you here, these photographs are of the last 6 months. These are the people who have done self-harm to themselves. And yes, let's talk about the owner and the founder member of Cafe Coffee Day. A person who created a competitor for the world in Cafe Coffee Day. But finally he took his own life. There were nearly 300 suicides, lockdown deaths in India ever since the lockdown started, and this is up to 5th of May. And suicide was the biggest cause out of these deaths, 300 deaths. You open the paper, see every argument. So when no, this only these type of people will get affected, or that type of people will get affected. That's not true. Mental health can affect anybody. Factors which affect mental health. Let me take a few of the factors here. Okay, before I take the factors, can you please put on your chat boxes? And in that, can you please tell me how many squares do you see here? Just put in a number. How many squares do you see here? Have we got some answers?
From
Okay,
UK, from UK, Jalan, it is 16.
yeah, I see. We have got answers of 17, 16, 16, 24, 16, 30, 24.
24.
We have got various answers. 23, 30, 24, 30, 16, 24. Now my question is, who is right and who is wrong?
There is one right.
Who is right? Who is right? Out of all these answers, who's right?
I feel everybody is right.
Yes, Mishraji, like Mishraji says, actually speaking, everybody is right, because that is how they are seeing it. And they, being a unique person with their own mental capabilities, their uniqueness in them, this is how they see it. So how can we say anybody else is wrong? But if I was to do an assessment based on this, and I want people to be to select people who can understand this type of a problem, then I need to train them
I
to
got
look at
30
this.
so far. 31, 30, 31.
Smita, let that speaker go. Thank you, Smita.
So there can be any number of, here is something which I say, this is what we call perception or viewpoint. And this viewpoint is always based on a few factors. It's based on our background, where we come from, where we have studied, where we have done our schooling. And this is something we can't change. But a lot of people use their background as an excuse. They say, oh, I have studied in such and such place, and therefore I can't understand what you are asking me. So my personal opinion is that these are excuses. As a psychotherapist also, I believe a background is something which has brought us to where we are today. So how can we be negative about our background? Yes, there were certain things which are not available in our background. But then we have got opportunities later to gain those. The other things which affect our way of thinking is our culture and value system. Culture is ever evolving, but values remains very steady. People talk about corruption, people talk about a lot of things. And when people talk about corruption and say, but if you want to ask a question to anybody present here, and the same thing I'm doing with my grandchildren now, what am I going to teach my grandchildren? Will I teach them honesty is the best policy? I will still continue to teach my grandchildren honesty is the best policy. I will still continue to believe that honesty is the best policy, because that is a value. Culture is evolving. If I was to talk about culture evolving, if today I was to look at the youngsters with the same mindset when I was in college or I was in school, would that really be correct? If I was to assess them or judge them on that? But if my exposure is not there to culture, then my way of looking at things will be stuck. Therefore, education, experience, and exposure are necessary, because that also goes into your perception, into how you see things. Self-concept and self-image. How is it I look at myself? If I think I am a failure, why will the world say, no, you are a very successful person? At least I need to have a reasonable self-image about myself. I mean, I can't be like this. Maybe this is also not correct. But maybe this is required to motivate me sometimes. But maybe it matters most how I see myself. I cannot be the opposite way also. I cannot be a tiger and look at myself as a weakling. So therefore, there is necessary for me to have a accurate self-assessment, which will help me in seeing myself correctly. But this assessment must be unbiased and in a scientific manner. Some factors which affect mental health, one of the things is the way perception is. The other is everyone is having some risk of developing mental health disorders. It could be age, sex, income, or ethnicity. Some of the factors are here, and some of these factors are social and financial circumstances. Yes, even social can cause tremendous amount of pressure. Peer pressure is something which I have been dealing with when I go to colleges. Peer pressure, which is a social pressure, those circumstances can really, really put children or anybody else for that matter, even professionals, peer pressure can put us into a tremendous amount of stress. Now, should I take peer pressure? And that is something that nobody has been able to answer. Peer pressure exists. If you are getting peer pressure, but you have a confident self image about yourself, you understand who you are, you will be able to handle peer pressure. Financial circumstances will again cause tremendous amount of pressure. And financial circumstances of two types: somebody who's at the lower end of the ladder, who's not even getting a single meal per day. But financial circumstances also of the guy like the cafe coffee day owner, where expansion was necessary. And financial circumstances I've seen at the highest levels. I have flown a lot with the corporate, owners and bosses and things like that. And what I noticed there is a tremendous race for everything, despite having everything. Initially people may start, my cycle is better than your cycle, but finally it start, my aircraft needs to be better than your aircraft. And even it doesn't stop there. So financial circumstances, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about these normal financial circumstances which are required for you to survive. That creates more pressure. Family history and life choices. What type of family history is there? Whether there is any history of mental illness, some of it may affect the person. It does affect. Lifestyle choices. What type of lifestyle do you want to have? Again, nobody can dictate that this is how you should live. You should be able to decide how you want to live, but that should not be because of peer pressure or external pressure. Because if you're going to do it because of external pressures, then once again, it's going to affect your mental health. Belonging to marginalized or persecuted groups, this definitely creates a tremendous amount of mental health issues. And we have dealt with many of these. How is mental health affected? Let me show you here. Let me talk a little bit about the brain. By the time you are about 3 weeks after conception, the brain starts forming. And the brain continues to form. And by the time you are about 6 years old, about 95% of the brain is already formed. There are billions, there are about 100 billion neurons inside the brain, and pathways get started. By the time you are, about 6 years old, you have thousands and thousands of pathways per neuron, which are already there. 95% of the brain developed, neurons are there. What are these pathways? These pathways are from when you feel pleasure, pain, or experience anything, that pathway is developed. And if it is a pathway which is giving you pleasure, you will continue to go towards that pathway because you want to get that pleasure. But if it is even pain that you experience, even that will come up. Blazing a trail through this jungle of neurons is very, very difficult. It's a big jungle. You feel unsafe when you leave your old highways. And that is why, we say we have got a habit of doing things. Actually, you feel very uncomfortable when you're leaving your set highways. The brain loses the highway paper. Please understand, when the pathways are made, there is this subject called the substance called myelin. Myelin is the one which does the paving on the pathway. You know, when a road is set, on top of that you put the paving there. That's when the myelin does. But around puberty, brain starts losing this. Effectively means how important the first 13, 14 years of a child's life are. Pathways of pleasure, pain, and all are going to be formed here. Emotions are going to be, emotional pathways are also going to be formed in this time. Later on, does it mean that you can't form the pathways? You can form the pathways, but maybe they will be untarred roads. It's not that you can't form them, but maybe they will be untarred roads. You might have a road. It takes 45 days to form another pathway and get a behavior change, one behavior change. But it may not be a tarred road. These are the 4 brain chemicals which are called the happy chemicals. Now, you're not always going to stay happy. People say, oh, happiness means I should always be happy. Happiness can never continuously last, because these brain chemicals which give you happiness will go up and down at all stages. Let me explain a little here. We are always seeking rewards and avoiding pain circuits. I've covered this. Dopamine, a little about this. It's a great feeling that a reward is at hand. This chemical is released when you know I'm going to get it. You worked hard, you've done everything, you know you're going to get it. So when you're aware that you're about to get it, like Janvi says, she's about to get into the profession. She's going to get her, the date for her bar exam and everything is coming up. Now that is the type of thing. There is, once she has that in hand, dopamine is going to be released. She's going to really be happy on that particular day, because there is an achievement which is happening. Dopamine releases. Dopamine releases every time we do something. I want to have a good meal. I want to have Chinese today. And if I get Chinese today, my dopamine gets released. So it's not that, I need to have. That is why it is said that you must continuously have goals, sub goals, small goals, things like that. These small things, even in a day. Today, my goal is to finish 4 of these tasks. The moment I do that, I get a spurge of dopamine. I've been able to do it. So this is something, and over a period of time, dopamine will wane. After today, if tomorrow I want dopamine, I have to do something else. It's not that today's dopamine will carry on and on and on. So if I want more dopamine, if I want to be more happy, I have to do more things. Serotonin, the pleasure of social dominance. It is not aggression. It is the calm that we have this thing, and Rotary Club has a wonderful thing that every year, there is a change in the people who are running the organization. Here, there is no fight, really speaking, for social dominance, but a system is already established. So everybody gets to be in a particular position. Obviously, when I say everybody, people who have already been working with, in various projects and things like that. Now, in all society, even in a small group of children, there wants to be one leader. And when he becomes the leader, he feels very happy. That's when serotonin is released. Endorphins are basically like morphine. When you are having an emergency and you have to take action, because you might be hurt, that is why endorphins are released. Oxytocin, it is called the love chemical. Today we are lacking a lot of oxytocin in our homes, basically because of the lockdown. It is necessary to meet. It is necessary to shake hands. When Sanjay Dutt said that Jadoo Ki Jappi is a necessity. It actually is healing, because it creates trust through touch, and therefore bonding takes place. By the way, oxytocin also comes in sprays, which people put it into their nose sometimes to get this feeling of euphoria. I would not recommend people to use that, but it is available. And this is the stress. This orders the system. Moment cortisol is released, your mood is heightened, blood sugar increases, immune system is suppressed, decrease serotonin, increases blood pressure. And why it does this? Let me show you what cortisol does. It's a stress hormone. It aids metabolism, fat, proteins, and all that. It helps in short term. In the short term, it is acts as a homeostasis. Harmful for long term, it is released by the adrenal. Why? Because this is for whenever we create stress, whenever stress takes place. So now I have 4 chemicals which can give you happiness, and I have 1 chemical which gives you, provides you, and which is released when you have stress. So the more anxiety, the more stress I have, depending on that, or the more happiness and positive I am, that chemical is going to be running in my body. Accordingly, my body is going to behave. And this is how it is affected. You see the evolution of man when it took place. When the evolution was taking place, हमारे को 2 ही चीजें आती थी, fight or flight. The small brain, as they say, or the amygdala, which is there, we only knew 2 things: fight or flight, because there was only a case of survival. I needed to survive to be able to thrive. So if I found a threat, my brain only had to decide 2 things: should I fight? Can I handle the stress, this threat? Is it going to, harm my survival? Is it going to endanger my survival? And if I can't handle it, then I better run away. And moment this is done, that is when the cortisol is released. We have one more thing which gets added to the flight formula, and that is freeze. Many times in the survival mode, we freeze. When we freeze, then everything is lost. Here is what happens. Actually speaking, what happens in the initial brain, there was only the amygdala. If you see on the right side, there was only the amygdala. It turns on the flight and flight mode. On top of that is the hippocampus, which is giving you, it regulates your emotion. Initially, the prefrontal cortex never existed. The prefrontal cortex is where your thinking, your logic, and evaluation processes go on. So what happens is, when the amygdala used to say, yes, survive, threat, cortisol release, hormones release, adrenaline release, everything starts circling and starts moving. What has happened is, we have evolved, we have got the prefrontal cortex, but our brain system has not changed. आज भी जब input आता है, the first input goes to the amygdala. And amygdala immediately reaction start कर देता है. That is why they say, if you are under stress, take a deep breath. Is it a question of survival? Just think. And the moment you take this deep breath, that is enough time for the prefrontal cortex to act and tell you, you're being unnecessarily worried. This is not a survival threat. Relax. So that is where the prefrontal cortex comes in. Amygdala tends to hijack sometimes the main brain, especially when the emotions are very strong. Amygdala has this tendency to hijack the main brain. This is what happens in the flight. I've covered this. Let me come to stress. Stress is a phenomenon of being stretched beyond demand. When we have too many demands on us, beyond our capability, beyond our potential to cope, that's when stress comes in. When any demand is put on us, if it is perceived harmless, there is no stress. If there is a threat, assessment is done. If I have enough resources, no stress. If don't have enough resources, lot of stress. Here are some of the early warning signs. I would like you to keep this in mind, because this is what will help you in understanding people around you. You know, when something happens and we say, काश मुझे पता होता, काश उसने बोल दिया होता. अगर वो नहीं भी बोल रहा, तो please look at these. Eating or sleeping too much or too little, pulling away from people and usual activities, withdrawing from friends, having low or no energy, feeling numb or like nothing matters, having unexplained aches and pains, feeling helpless or hopeless, excessive smoking, drinking, or drugs, yelling or fighting with family and friends truly for no reason, feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, displaying negative emotions, experiencing severe mood swings, having persistent thoughts, hearing voices, thinking of harming yourself, talking about harming yourself, and inability to do daily tasks. So, how do we handle this? How do we handle this stress that we are talking about? We handle this in a very simple way. First is stop reacting. Every, in today's world, in the way we are living, stop reacting, start responding. So the first action is start responding. Let your logical mind take charge. And it takes just a few breaths to do that. That's all the time it needs. Instead of immediate reaction, response. Learn to respond. People sometimes say, response can be slower than reacting. No, it is not true. I will show you in a little while. So react, when you are reacting, it is emotion driven, aggressive, fuels disengagement, weakens you. And when you respond, it helps you resolve and empowers you. Now, when we say response, in my fighter flying, we used to be flying at 200 feet height and at 1,000 kilometers per hour. Now, 200 feet height is about a 31, 32-story building. Now, that's the height at which we used to fly at 1,000 feet. Now, if something happened to my aircraft at that stage, I'm going at 911 feet per second. At 200 feet, something happens to my aircraft, 0.22 seconds to realize what is happening, to analyze it, to respond it, and my life. Training. So there your responses my thoughts, words, actions, and behavior. Things outside my control. Why should I really worry about that? This is something which I really want to emphasize at this time. To be able to handle stress and for your own well-being, first is accept yourself. What can be changed and what cannot be changed. Analyze it and accept it. I am 5'7" tall. I cannot become taller. Accept it. Why fight it? Moment acceptance takes place, a large amount of stress goes away. Connect, listen, talk. Stay connected. I know we are all in the lockdown stage, but connections are really, really possible, necessary. So connect. This is what all of you are very much used to, giving. Your time, your words, your presence, it creates too much. I have seen this when I've gone to various schools, the happy schools that you were talking about. When I've gone to the happy school, when you people go there, when you give them your time, your words, and your presence, how thrilled those children feel. And that giving, there can be no better measure of happiness than giving. Take notice. Remember the simple, the safe. What gives you joy? Keep learning. We have all learned to use the internet to have our meetings and everything. We all thought it was impossible. Well, the COVID has taught us new things. So keep learning and be active. And if all this fails to handle your stress, all I would say is seek professional help. Take help. What can we do about it? Follow the measures, notice the warning signs. Can we stop or reduce it or handle this for others, for ourselves? Yes, we can, as long as we notice the warning signs. And if we can't help, we take professional help. How can we help? Like I said, noticing. We have a training program, a part of Connecting, which is, awareness and gatekeeper training. We do that. Again, this is giving you all the information which I have just given. We just train you for doing this better. And that's a long course. And there are helplines. I'm just giving you one number. Like somebody in the beginning was saying, I hope we never need a doctor or a lawyer's, requirement. But I would still say, please note down these numbers. These are helpline numbers. And I would request Colonel Mishra to, if he could share them with the others at a later stage. I'll
Certainly, I will do that. Certainly, I will do that.
Because you may not require it, but somebody you know may be requiring it. Some student you come across, somebody else may require the same. Well, that brings me to the end of today's talk. And I now hand over back to Colonel Mishra, but I am ready to take any questions on any of the issues that we have.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, thank you very much, Bakuji, for your very interesting and highly useful talk on a most relevant topic, mental health and handling stressful condition. The way you covered all the possible aspects of the subject that has made all of us more educated, better informed, and I'm sure all participants would be benefited in COVID-19 situation. And we will also share your shared number to others also. So for this question answer session, I would like to invite Rotarian Sanjay Merchant, Club Admin and Director Program, to do this honor. Over to Sanjay.
Yeah, thank you, Colonel sir. Any questions?
Sanjay, can
Anybody
I
else?
ask a question?
Yeah,
Sanjay?
Anuradha, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. My question is that there have been a lot of cases where the family has a situation where no hope is really possible. For example, one of our colleagues was comatized and paralyzed and lying in the bed for 7 years, having two daughters, 12 and 14, and a wife who was actually a housewife. Now, what happens is that there are millions of cases, people with cancer, people with cerebral palsy. What kind of mental treatment can be given when you see there is no hope actually left in life? Is there any specialized kind of a mental support for them?
Yes, there are people. I mean, we ourselves, even from Connecting NGO, we used to go to hospitals and all to provide this support. Our volunteers used to provide that. See, what these people need is somebody to be able to talk to and unburden themselves. See, they are dealing with tremendous amount of negativity. Like you said, the person who's been on bed for 7 years. Now, what his family must be going through is a tremendous amount of pressure.
Yes.
So who needs the support? His family needs the support. The lady, the housewife, the lady you said, she is the one who needs to be counseled. She is the one who needs to start thinking positively. And again, it's by my saying that this is what should happen is not going to happen. A counselor needs to spend a tremendous amount of time with her. And this is going to take a lot of toll on that lady. Definitely, it's not that you can brush it away. It cannot be brushed away. But the support which is given to her, that support will make her stronger to deal with the situation. And that's the only way they and her children can be brought out. I have had a case where the mother and father were both on the bed, two daughters, both in college. Now, ultimately, the father's work had also stopped, so there was no income also coming. The elder daughter, who had just finished graduation, started working, and the younger daughter stayed at home to take care of the parents. And they did that for 13 years when finally both the parents passed away. And at the end of it, they came in contact with me at the end of it. At the end of it, there was a totally traumatic experience for the younger daughter. The elder one was already working, so she was meeting people, she was going outside, so there was nothing happening there. But for the younger daughter, she was only at home. Ab suddenly, वहां पे जिनका वो रही थी, she even says to me, I hope they pass away. Because that is her mental state which had happened. She had said, I hope they pass away. I just don't want them to be here. So it is a tremendous amount. It took me about a year to get that young girl back onto a normal positive thinking. It is very difficult, but a lot of counseling, that's the only answer. There are specialized counselors for that, and they can do that.
Yeah, Vibhakar ji has a question. He's asking, can there be a stress of
Yeah.
abundance of everything in life?
There can be a
See, what happens is some people are wealthy, healthy, no problem at all. Can there be stress for them also? They have got
yes,
abundant
sir.
of everything.
No, you are right, but there can be stress for any and everybody. Because even to maintain the healthy, wealthy, and that type of environment, he needs to be thinking about it. You see, there is a fear of losing that also. I have seen people who are, who have at least about 3,000 crore worth. They are 3,000 crore worth. That is their net worth. They are also under stress because now they are in a particular group where they have to maintain that level. So they have a stress there itself. Again, that is generated because that is what their thought process is. So stress can be generated for any and every level. It is not as if the person is just healthy, wealthy. Moment he starts aspiring that more, or he fears that he may lose something which he has, stress will come in. So stress will definitely come in there.
Formal now. For formal vote of thanks, I will invite Rotarian Bikram Puri, to whom we say Vikramaditya of the Rotary Club of Pune Riverside. Over to Bikram Puri.
Good morning, Group Captain Baku. Thank you so much for your time today. I think you have put this, all our concerns about mental health in perspective and given us a lot to think about. I think it's also very interesting that you have an analogy with how fighter pilots need to be, their speed of processing and speed of reaction, their reaction times have to be at least 10 times or 12 times faster than somebody driving on a high speed expressway, which is what, the most that most of us have done. So we believe that, special situations and special jobs and create special kinds of stress, and there are probably, we understand now, there are probably different ways of handling those levels of stress. But not only stress, but constant stressful situations, we now understand, lead to problems with mental health. I think during this whole interaction, perhaps we missed out on really asking how do we handle instantly a highly stressful situation, and perhaps maybe that is something that you could address in the next time you're around. I know you said that you step back, take a couple of deep breaths, and then you use that fighter pilot analogy. But to be a fighter pilot who can fly at 200 feet above ground level at 1,000 kilometers an hour involves a humongous amount of training. And I don't think that the people in our social community are either mentally prepared to accept that they need that kind of training or near that training. So perhaps some simple methods to handle stress the next time you come around would be really great. But I think that this time we've really understood what kind of chemical changes happen within us that actually determine how happy or sad or romantic or loving that we feel. And I think we are we are quite enlightened because of that. So thank you very much for being with us today. It's really been very interesting, and it's been not only interesting, but it's been very logical. So a lot of us have connected with what you say. So thank you.
Thank you.